We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
The Dialogue, the community voice of Southern California's young professional network. Relevant discussions about the thoughts, concerns, opportunities, and challenges faced by today's generational leaders. Real talk, real people. This is The Dialogue. The Dialogue with Starlett Quarles on LA Talk Live and streaming live at www.latalklive.com.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to The Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People. I'm your host, Starlett Quarles, and we're on live at latalklive.com and also streaming live in Omaha, Nebraska at 1690 AM, the one, the voice of the voiceless. As always, The Dialogue is the voice of our generation, so thank you so much for joining us here every Wednesday from 5 to 6, where we like to discuss the topics that are relevant to today's generational leaders. Again, this is our 2-month series on the dynamics of Black relationships. We've been talking about Black love for the past month. We started our series last month with our topic on Black relationships, and we're going to continue that series this month, focusing a lot more on marriage. And how do we get married, y'all? How do we stay married here on The Dialogue? So this is a community conversation and a special 90-minute series, so we want to hear from you. 323-473-3100. That's 323-473-3100. We've opened up our phone lines because we want to hear from you for this 90-minute special on the dynamics of Black relationships. Now, if you missed our show last week, we talked about Black men and their children, as well as a couple of theories: parental alienation, malicious mom syndrome. If you ever heard of anything, or if you haven't, please check out our show last week with our all Black men panel, Black men and their children. We had entrepreneur Terry Boykins, organizational psychologist Hamidi Diallo, educator Darren Early, and entrepreneur Carlon Manuel. So if you missed our show, please tune in on our website or check out our replays, thedialoguela.com. That is thedialoguela.com. Our show tonight is on life after divorce. What have we learned? What have I learned? We have a guest today. We have a panel of guests who have unfortunately gone through divorce, but some have also found love the second time around after the demise of their marriage, their first marriage. So tonight we're going to have a candid conversation about marriage, divorce, and life after divorce. And to help us flesh out this conversation on marriage and divorce is my esteemed panel this evening: entrepreneurs Wendy Dean, Shelon Douglas, Kenneth Fleming, and Tony Wafford, all here to help me launch my second month on the dynamics of Black relationships. And tonight's conversation on life after divorce. Again, we want to hear from you. 323-473-3100. I don't know what's going on with my sound, but or you can send your comments or questions here, facebook.com, The Dialogue LA, or you can always tweet me. And we have a new app that you can, well, not a new app, but you can download the Ustream or the TuneIn Radio app and check us out on your phone. Tonight's show is brought to you by Urban X Marketing, as well as Dr. Carrie, trichologist and natural hair care stylist. So please check her out at Dr. Carrie Williams of Mahogany Hair Revolution at drcarriewilliams.com. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to get into our conversation on life after divorce, what I've learned, here on The Dialogue with me, Starlett Quarles. Real talk, real people. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Barbara Perkins, inviting you to join us every Sunday afternoon at 2:40 for Sisters at the Well Radio, a conversation with women about women. Join us as we share stories about current events, jazz events, business opportunities, health and wellness, entertainment, and so much more. So don't forget to tune in Sundays at 2:40, exclusively on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B, Live 365, Radio Flag, or watch and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
The dialogue. The dialogue.
Hey, shout us out. What's the count? I'm your host, Ferran Dozier. I'm inviting you to join me on WDC Radio every Monday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time as we discuss community topics around health, sports, and entertainment. So don't forget to shout us out. What's the count? On WDC Radio, only on LATalkLive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio, R&B, or watch us on Ustream.tv. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we're more than just talk. What's the count?
You know, when you say your marriage vows, they're supposed to be for real. I mean, if you think back about what you really said, you know, about honor and loving and obeying until death do us part, no, that shouldn't be that way.
Welcome back to the dialogue, Real Talk, Real People. Thank you for tuning in today. Today we are continuing our series, our 2-month series on the dynamics of Black relationships. And today we're having a community conversation on marriage and divorce. And again, we definitely want to hear from you. 323-473-3100, 323-473-3100. Today's conversation is life after divorce. What I've learned. I'm going to introduce our guest this evening. Sitting next to me is one of our favorite longtime friends of the dialogue, Mr. Tony Wafford, president of I Choose Life, Health, and Wellness Center. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you. How should I say thank you?
Welcome home.
I'm glad to be black.
Aren't you always glad to be black?
Telling you.
Sitting next to Tony, we have a good friend of mine, the beautiful Miss Wendy Dean, executive director of Forgiving for Living. I don't know what's happening with this music. Entrepreneur Wendy Dean, executive director for Forgiving for Living. Welcome to the dialogue. This is your first time here.
This is my first time, but I hope not my last.
Oh,
it's wonderful being here with you.
Thank you so much. Longtime friend of the dialogue, entrepreneur Kenneth Fleming. Welcome back, sir. Reigning Capital Management.
Hello, how you doing today?
How you doing? How your mama doing?
Shit, I don't know. I know how the IRS is doing. You're doing quite well after,
and last but
me.
Certainly not least, you all remember Shelon Douglas when we did our whole month series with Miss Shelon Douglas of Turnkey, the Professionals. Welcome back, lady.
Hi, Starlett.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm so happy to be back. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming back, especially now we got this air on. Y'all see me getting greasy? It was hot up in here. Okay. Very good. So now today's conversation is on life after divorce. So I kind of want to just get a foundation on just your concepts of marriage and you know how things had evolved for you growing up. So I'm going to ask all you guys to just give me your opinion. Why do you think now marriage is a bad name amongst this generation? Or just amongst people in general, but specifically, why is marriage a bad name, Tony?
I didn't know it was a bad name.
It is. It's a bad word.
Why is it a bad word? I never knew that.
You never knew marriage was a bad word?
I promise I never knew that.
Well, why do you think marriage has such a negative stigma?
Oh, I think because the people that see it negative, they're probably part of the broken heart brigade. Upset, mad, because it didn't work out well, and probably largely in part, a lot of people don't want to take personal responsibility for what they did or did not do.
Okay.
When they were in the relationship.
All right.
So it's easy to give it a bad name rather than take responsibility.
Okay, Wendy.
Well, you know, I think oftentimes we get our value system from the wrong places. And so if we're getting our value system based on media, sometimes we get a picture that's not realistic. And so I think in today's society, also being a mother of children that are married aged in their 20s and so forth, you know, they're feeling like, is that really where the answer is going to come? And they feel like maybe it's not what it used to be, versus understanding all the beauty that is in a marriage and what can come from a marriage. And I have to agree with Tony because the majority of people that I know, and maybe it's an age thing for us, don't see marriage as a bad thing or with a bad name.
Okay.
But we feel like maybe we've had some bad
Experiences. But would you say that this generation would say that marriage is not cool?
Again, I think it depends on who you speak with, because when I think about my daughters, because I have 3 daughters now, 2 are married and 1 is wanting to be married, but I also have sons. And so I think sons sometimes look at things differently than our young women. But also today, a lot of young women are having their own careers. They're professional. They're deciding to sometimes have children without a husband. They're doing many, many things in their lives in such a way where they don't see marriage as part of that package or a necessity for that package.
Excellent. Ken?
Yes.
No. Is marriage a bad name? Marriage a bad word to you?
It ain't a bad
Is it a bad
name
word to your friends?
No. I think it also has to do with economics.
Okay.
So when you don't have anything, you don't want to have the responsibility of being responsible for someone else. And when economics is not the issue, then I think you're more open to it. Or if I could say, when I see the young kids today, I shouldn't say young kids, but my nephew's age in the mid-20s, they're moving towards relationship because they are moving towards success in life. So they've done with college, they're in their profession, they're getting their assets together, and so they're welcoming a partner.
Okay.
A partner meaning a female.
Okay. Shelon?
That's a good point. I think I'm going to come from a different approach.
Okay.
I would say that a lot of today's generation view marriage as they don't have a solid foundation spiritually so. And I think they lack that foundation from their parents, where they might have grown up in a broken home and might not be used to, be living or growing up in a marital situation. I'm talking about the generation for today.
Okay.
And then I think they look at it as, I think they have the type of mindset and the attitude as far as I can do like the independency, or I don't necessarily need to have a marriage I don't need to be married to still have the same thing, and basically can do whatever I want to do on my own without even, tying myself up, or what they consider not having that freedom. They still want to be able to go and do whatever they want to do and not have to worry about answering to somebody or having that, responsibility as far as having to make a commitment.
Okay, so just for our viewing audience's benefit, both you guys are divorced but remarried, and you're recently remarried. Congratulations. You're still in your newlywed stage, girl. I see the glow. I see the glow. And then you two.
Wow. Is this why we're seated?
No. And then you two are divorced but dating. Correct. Okay, so Ken, I'm going to start with you.
In a relationship, I don't know if she's listening. See what I've learned since I've been divorced?
You were so stupid. So let me just ask you, just as growing up, what was your perception of marriage as a child? What did you believe marriage was? Or what did you think? And Ken, I'm going to start with you. What was your perception of marriage growing up?
I don't think it was, there was no perception. My mom and dad had got a divorce, and then my mom entered into a new relationship. So I really do come from a 2-parent home, and my dad did the same.
So how did you feel when your parents got divorced?
I was too young. I was 2-3 years old, so I didn't even know that they were even divorced or married. But when I was mature or got older, what I realized was that there was just 2 parents in the house. It was a dad and a mom. That's how I looked at it. I didn't look at it as, it was a marriage or what the benefits are. I understand the benefits now as an adult, but when I was growing up, I didn't. It was nothing.
So the panel, were you guys all raised in 2-parent households?
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tony?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were. So what did you believe about marriage growing up? What were you taught about marriage?
I mean, I wasn't taught anything.
Okay.
I mean, you just saw it. You saw because on my block, actually growing up, it was 2 parents in most of the houses on my street. To be perfectly honest with you, it was some, where they weren't 2 parents, but we didn't think about it either way, in terms of how we didn't trip like that. We didn't think about that.
Well, I actually came from a real broken home. My mom actually left when I was a little girl. About 3 years old.
Oh, wow.
I mean, when I say left, I mean I never met her again until I was grown. So I was primarily raised with my father's family. And over the years, my father actually married 4 times.
Wow.
And so, but by the time he got to wife number 3, I was grown and gone, So I didn't grow up in that same type of environment. I grew up more as a part of a village, an extended family, really more so under the umbrella of a grandmother. And my grandmother and grandfather were married until death do they part, but my grandfather passed before I was born, and my grandmother never remarried. So I kind of grew up more in a strong matriarchal type of environment. And I was taught to respect relationships because I was brought up in the church. But I didn't see that modeled. So as Tony was talking about, it wasn't so much taught, it was what he saw. I didn't even see it.
So what were you taught, or what did you believe was the role of the wife?
To take care of her husband and her family, and pretty much a traditional Christian value type of environment, because like I said, I was brought up in the church and was raised also around core values. For example, we were taught things like you joined urban leagues and NAACPs and all the organizations, and you came together as a family. I mean, so I was still taught family and the importance of community, which is why I am the way I am today. But as related to the fact of having that mother and father in the house, that did not exist.
Okay. Shelon, what were you taught about the role of the wife?
Well, growing up in my household, my mom had remarried when I was young. So I grew up with my mom and my stepfather. My stepfather took the place of my biological father. Although my biological father was around, but that was in distant relationship. That wasn't close by. So my parents never really sat down and talked to me about what marriage was all about or what it consisted of. I pretty much just, that was a part of my growing up. It was just something that I kind of took on for myself. I actually, came up with my own definition of what I thought marriage was supposed to be about. So what
was that definition?
Well, just the fact that, you can get married and you don't necessarily have to, because he was my stepfather. I lived with my biological mother and my stepfather, that you didn't necessarily have to be married to the father of your children.
Okay. Very good.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, and again, because the generation that they came from, they didn't believe in divorce, like what can I say? Not before the baby, the traditionalist generation, which was my grandparents. They totally did not believe in divorce.
Okay.
So I kind of took on what I could.
Ken, what was the role of the wife?
I don't know. I never wanted to experiment that. But
I'm just saying, what was your perception of a wife?
But what I did see, I don't know, because I never thought about it.
Okay.
What do you want me to say? Sex, clean the house.
I want you to tell the truth.
Yeah.
What were you taught? Did you think your wife was supposed to be the domestic goddess?
You talking about the role of my
Just your
ex-wife?
perception. What was your perception of a wife, period? What did you think the role of a wife was growing up?
I didn't know.
Okay.
It was the same as what it was with a marriage, but as I became more mature, I began to understand what the role was. But I wanted to emphasize the role of a husband.
Okay,
I
very
did see
good.
that. And so what I saw Pops doing, he just wrote the check every Friday. He wrote a check, and so that was what I saw. Mom. I mean, of course she cook. I mean, I don't know anybody's mother who doesn't cook.
Okay.
But her role, I didn't know the role.
Okay, Tony.
Since you brought it up, and I thought, because I never thought about it coming up, and as I was listening to everybody talk, what I know, what I saw versus, because we didn't talk about it, I saw partnership.
Excellent.
The guy next door to me was a painter. He was an independent contractor, and he painted, right? And he had a bunch of kids. It was like 8 of them or something. And so on Saturday, when they was out of school, everybody went to go paint. During the week, his wife went to go paint with him.
Okay.
And in my house, my mom, we booked numbers. That's how I went to school and had Christmas presents and all that stuff.
Love it.
No, I'm just telling you the truth. My mama booked numbers. I mean, I remember her getting up in the morning, putting a towel under the phone, because you had to ring, people calling you, write the number down. And so I remember her putting the phone, waking us up. We get dressed, and she would book numbers. My father was a musician. He played in a jazz band. He played at night at nightclubs and in hotels. So he basically rested throughout the most part of the day, while my mom booked numbers throughout the day. Then we come home from school, she would have dinner or whatever, and people would call in that evening what the number was. He was getting dressed to go to the club to go do what he did. And I think about the people across the street from me. I mean, I saw partnership in relationship.
Excellent.
So that was my definition of what marriage was, as I think about it, having not thought about it as a kid.
Okay.
But I saw it as a partnership.
Okay. So let's talk about your first marriages. When did you guys first get married?
I was a damn fool.
How old were you when you was a damn fool?
I was a damn fool for so long. I was a damn fool from the day I said I do to the day I got a divorce. I was the biggest damn fool in America. Without question. I take responsibility.
How old were you?
When I got married, I was like 21, 22.
All right.
I was a damn fool.
All right.
Wow.
Did you believe at that time you found your soulmate?
Well, first of all, we can loosen up now, right, y'all?
You
I don't even know.
You came in loose.
I don't even know what the hell that means.
I was going to ask you, is there such thing as a soulmate?
That's a bullshit.
Okay.
No
No
I don't even
arguing.
think that's real. So, I mean,
I disagree.
I understand beauty of democracy. I don't know what that means. See, because when I was younger and when I first got married, right, I was a damn fool. Because I was so hoish. Sex was my drug of choice. You know, I was young, looked good, and I was random and could talk. I ran them hard. But I was crazy. No, I'm not saying this in a boastful kind of way. I was a damn fool. I was out of my mind.
Okay.
And I was out of my mind because I had a hole in my soul. That's why I was chasing these broads.
I love it.
Like that. And I didn't have a support system to tell me you a damn fool. I would go to barbershop and around my friends, and they reinforced insanity. Because I remember one day, I'll never forget as long as I live, y'all. I was coming home one night after being out. I was with this broad, right?
This is while you were married?
Yeah,
Okay.
hell yeah. And there was no excuse because there was no excuse. My wife was fine. My first, oh god damn, she was fine. I had 2 kids, boy and a girl. Had a good job, making all the money in the world. She can look up longer than I can look down, so it wasn't like I needed something from somewhere else. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, and I remember driving home, and I was crying, and I started crying. I swear to God. And I was crying because I asked myself, well, Tony, why'd you do that? Because I didn't love the person or nothing like that. I was just getting some pussy.
Okay.
And it hit me that it was something else missing in me. But I had nobody that I could tell that to. Because for the most part, your friends, as we all know as brothers, most of the time your friends don't reinforce the positive.
So what did you say? What was missing?
I think I was introduced to sex entirely too young as a youngster.
Okay.
And that was my introduction to relationship and things like that, screwing.
Okay.
And so I didn't even know what the hell I was doing. And then when I got married, I still didn't, and I didn't have nobody to actually usher me through, because even though I saw partnership and I knew what it looked like, I still wasn't mentally prepared or didn't have a reinforcement.
When you said I do, you knew you weren't going to be monogamous for the rest of your life?
Oh, I that day I thought I was. Shit, just like when you join church, you think you're going to love Jesus, you get to the parking lot, and you ask yourself, what I do that for?
Anyway, Wendy, when were you first married? And at that time, did you believe you found your quote-unquote soulmate? And what made you decide to get married at the age that you did?
Well, my first marriage, I was 20.
Okay, so how many times have you been married?
This is my third and final marriage.
Okay. All right.
It's my third and final.
I love it.
But my first marriage, I was really young. I met my first husband when I was 17 years old in church, and he was 30.
Wow.
So, I got married. I was 20. He was 33 years old. I came from, and I can't really say that I thought about all of this back then, because even like Tony was saying, we're young. We're stupid in certain ways, But I came from an environment where I didn't have a mom at home. I had a father who ran the streets. So even what Tony's talking about, for people who know my story, my dad was a drug dealer, a pimp, a gangster, and had sexually abused me beginning when I was 6 years old. So I came from a different type of environment.
Absolutely.
So, coming up in the church and then going to church, I moved to Los Angeles to go to college. I went to UCLA, and while I was at UCLA, I was attending a church called Mount Zion under Dr. E.V. Hill. And so
East
the
side.
church
Sorry, flashback.
So, you have the comfort of the walls of the church, so to speak. And I was dating my first husband, and long story short, he just kept asking me. And finally one day I said, okay, fine, I'll get married. And that's really kind of how I got married.
Okay.
And, I do have 2 children by him, and I don't really have anything negative per se to say, but it wasn't the right relationship. It really wasn't. But even similar to what was already discussed, I came from a background because my dad had been married 4 times, because my mother was not in my life, and I didn't have that. I was determined once I did get married, I wanted to stay married, especially after I had children, even if it wasn't right, good, perfect, or whatever. And to answer your other question, I did not feel that he was my soulmate, but he was a good person at that time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do know.
And but as time went on, I think both realized it just really wasn't gelling, and it wasn't right, and then it really broke apart. Now, I always believed that there was a soulmate or someone that was just right for you. I've always believed that. I just had never met him until now. And I'll leave it at that for right now.
Ken, did you think you married your soulmate?
Hell no. Still gotta see it. I ain't gonna cuss, but shit. The devil is in the details.
I love Ken so much. Tell me what.
I still talk bad about it. I have nightmares. All that.
How old were you?
I was 27. And
that's old.
Well, yeah, yes and no. First of all, for a man, I don't believe that's old. I tell all the youngsters, don't get married until you're into your 30s.
Okay.
Wait till after you finish school, you're into your career 5 years, and you live by yourself. Case in point, or the reason why, is because you don't even know if you like to walk around the house naked. See, I realized the reason why I don't have any house guests, with the exception of my girlfriend, because I like to walk around naked. Yeah. I like to pass gas. I like to dig in my nose. Right. I leave clothes all over the place in the bedroom. I mess up the kitchen. The housekeeper come clean once a week, right? And that's what I like. So when you invade my space, it's a problem. And so what happens is that when you're in your 20s and you haven't quite made it yet, you don't know what you like. Those are my issues.
Okay.
So, you know, another young man, he'll have different issues. So what I realized at 27, I got married off of an argument. We were arguing back and forth. What's wrong with you? Insecure? Yeah. What's wrong? You want to get married? Yeah. All right. Here's American Express. She made the plans. I thought I was going to Norwalk. Next thing I know, we had a round trip ticket to the Cayman Islands. So, yeah, that's what happened. And so I remember sitting in the limousine in the Cayman Islands, and I was saying, you sure you want to do this? And yeah, I want to get married. So
were you sure you wanted to do it?
Well, but see, for a man, I think, and this is no disrespect, and I don't want to talk for all men, but I'm going to talk generalization. Most men get married off of a deal. And what I mean by a deal is not so much that you don't love the person you with, but something happens. And in us, we try and rationalize it as, if I marry her, I knock out a few things. And if I'm wrong, you guys correct me. I knock out a few things if I marry her. Whereas women, what do they do? When they're little, they get to play house. I want to be married. I'm the mommy. They playing with the dolls. And we out there, climbing the trees trying to get pomegranate from the neighbor's yard, busting windows, throwing rocks, playing marbles. So for me, I got married too soon. I wasn't mature.
You wasn't mature. Shelon.
Wow. For me, just listening to what you just said right now, after my marriage, I realized, if this is okay for me to say, I think a lot of men tend to make decisions based out of convenience.
Okay.
And for me, when I first got married, I was the age of 22, going to 23.
Did you think you had married your soulmate, or you found your soulmate?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No. And that's the clean version.
So then why, I mean, you guys all kind of said you didn't think you married you married your soulmate. So why did you say I do? But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Because you don't say it for soulmate.
For me, for a young girl at that time, I thought I was in love.
Okay.
I thought I knew enough. Because at that age, you think you grown, you think you know, and when you are all into a guy, because a lot of girls, especially at a young age, tend to lose themselves into the guy. And the person that I married, he was 7 years older than me, so it was not very hard for him to manipulate me. Also.
Okay, very good. All right.
I fell into that trap easily that way.
So did you guys, you guys all clearly got divorced? Did you see red flags before, during?
You ignore them.
Yeah.
Why do you ignore them? Why do you ignore the red flags, Wendy?
Well, I can't even say I really saw red flags because, again, I was so young and my mind wasn't on getting married. Just kind of like my friend here was talking about, girls grow up with the dolls. I didn't even like dolls, so that wasn't even my mind. I said yes mainly because I just kept getting asked.
Okay.
And so sometimes I hear, young ladies say, well, no one's even asking me. I was like, you want one here, type of thing. But it wasn't so much red flags before marriage as much as for me it was red flags after marriage.
Okay.
And then you begin to see them. But then by the time if you're dealing with your spirituality, your Christianity, and I did this now, and then children come into the picture, and you want your children to have a stable environment, then that's where it all comes into play. And I think also because I was so young. I was 20. He was 33 years old.
Okay.
And so then time goes on and you begin to have a dependence on him. Because for me, once I graduated from college, my whole life was about that family, that marriage, and everything. So I didn't even know how to get out, I guess, is the answer.
Okay. Tony, did she see red flags in you? Like, this
I'm
nigga
sure
ain't
she
never
did.
home.
I'm sure she. No, I was always home. I
Oh,
didn't
well, did you see any red flags in her, or did she see red flags in you? Was she perfect, and you were the one that was just...
She was damn near. I was a damn fool.
Okay.
Cause I didn't run. I never hung out late. Cause I never did. Even now, hell, I get sleep at 8:30. I did what I had to do in the daytime, and I hit it.
Lunch break.
Yeah.
Day rate.
Lord.
Yeah.
They call that day
I
rate
didn't
at
do
the
no.
hotel.
I didn't do no. I just give one of them short time, pay $20, get in there and get out of there.
Showtime. Told you.
So I didn't know. It was all about me, and I wasn't ready, and I wasn't right, and I think I will forever feel badly.
So did she file for a divorce?
Yeah.
She did?
Yeah.
Wendy, did you file or did he file?
It was mutual.
It
was mutual.
It was mutual?
I filed. Let me be clear and loud about that. You met my attorney, right?
I second that one.
You filed?
I filed.
You filed. And what was that final decision like when you filed? Was it just like, I can't take it anymore?
I actually knew I was ready to go 2 years prior to me doing it.
Okay. You know ahead of time that you're going to do it?
Almost definitely.
Do you stay for the kids?
I stayed in that for the kids.
Okay.
I didn't.
Okay, so let's talk about that when we come back after the break. We're going to talk about, is it beneficial to stay in a marriage that you're unhappy with just for the kids? We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to continue our conversation on life after divorce.
And your friends don't understand your choice of man. They speak proper while my speech is from a garbage can. But regardless, you shouldn't have to be so raw. I'm looking at the front door. I'm looking at the front door. Baby, I'm looking at the front door.
Hi, this is Susan Levin, owner and founder of Speaker Services, inviting you to join me and co-host Jean Noel Bassiar on Monday evenings, 5 p.m. Pacific, for our new show, Talk Up Your Business, Speak Your Way to More Profits. We'll be talking to you about how to use your expertise to grow your business or service through speaking. Our expert speakers and author guests will share their stories and success secrets with you. Don't forget to tune in to Talk Up Your Business Mondays at 5 p.m. Pacific, exclusively on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B or watch us on Ustream.tv. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Interested in advertising your business, product, or service here on The Dialogue? Call 323-547-7748. The Dialogue will help you promote your business, increase your traffic, and bring in new clients through innovative and creative marketing packages, including affordable radio ad campaigns for small businesses. Find out more. Call 323-547-7748. That's 323-547-7748. Or go to www.thedialoguela.com. And now, back to The Dialogue. The Dialogue with Starlett Quarles. Real talk, real people.
Welcome back to The Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People. We're talking about marriage and divorce here today. Our show is Life After Divorce, What I've Learned. Our guests include Miss Wendy Dean of Forgiving for Living, Shelon Douglas, Turnkey, The Professionals, entrepreneur Kenneth Fleming of Reigning Capital Management, and the forever
looking for a soulmate, Tony Wafford.
Tony Wafford from I Choose Life Health and Wellness Center. Now, during the commercial break, you just had an issue with the word soulmate. Yeah. What don't you understand about the word soulmate?
I don't know what the hell that means. People come up with all these words, and I'm sure Wendy, who I've known for a long time when my hair was black, a long time, who's going to explain to me
Wendy,
what the hell that
explain
mean?
what a soulmate is.
Well, I believe it is someone who touches your soul
Okay.
in a way that no one else can. And you actually were talking a little bit about this, Tony, while we were on the break, in terms of you were saying that, your wife is your friend, your lover,
Exactly.
your partner.
Exactly.
And I have to tell you, I am a newlywed, just got married on May 19th, and I knew the day I saw this man that he was the one.
Is that the only
how did
time
you
you
know?
ever looked at a man and go, he's the one?
I can say yes.
For the record.
Yes.
How did you know?
We had been communicating, and actually, I'll tell you, we met on Match.com.
Uh-oh.
And we had been communicating.
Let me renew my account.
Yes, yes. And we had talked, and for people who know me, I can be very specific, and I can say, okay, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to take this, I'm not going to take that. And when, he kind of put me in my place and so forth, and then when he showed up at my door at 7:30 in the morning with roses in his hand from another state to go to church with me as our first date on a Sunday. And I opened the door and he smiled at me. And my daughter, who was with me, said, I'm not going nowhere till I meet this man. And we both, it was just like instant chemistry, instant, just a peace that surpassed all kind of understanding when it came to somebody who could just put me, in my place.
We like a little checkage every now and then.
Every now and then.
What's a soulmate, sweetie?
For me, a soulmate is someone who you're one with.
Okay.
That other person completes you. They don't necessarily have to. It's not about what they do. It's not about as far as how they take care of you, how they provide for you. Those things will come naturally. For me, a soulmate is someone that you just cannot breathe without. You can't live without. And all you do is constantly think about them every single day. Even if it's just regular daily duties that you're doing, it's not like you're hard pressed thinking about them, but you're constantly, you're one with them. It's almost like you can read their mind, you can feel what they're feeling, they can feel your soul.
You don't feel that way about your wife?
Hell no, not every day.
One of my boys,
I think in theory, I think that's great.
Okay.
But I'm thinking, hell no, I don't think about my kids like that every day. I know I love them to death.
One of my boys said he
can.
I was gonna say one of my boys. He said he paid for soulmate every night. He said he feel him. No, I'm just being honest with you. He said it's hard. We was in touch.
Yeah.
Oh man, Ken, you got 200. So I'm just saying. I'm being honest with you. I want to hear a man with a woman in love. Not you, because you here. Say that he married his soulmate. And again,
all right, viewers, call in.
I think that's the difference between a man and a woman. I don't think
if you married your soulmate, please give us a call, 323-473-3100. Okay, so let me ask you, when you guys got married, what was your expectations of your wife or your husband? What were your expectations of your wife? What did you expect? You'd expect her to...
I was looking for a husband and she was looking for a wife. And it sounds funny, but Wendy's heard us say that before. See, I like cooking, cleaning, flowers in the house. No, I'm not homosexual. I like all those things. And I've never been in a relationship where I had someone who actually like my wife is a hard worker. She has a serious job. And she likes that, and I'm impressed with that, I'm fortunate in what I do. Sometimes I can make a whole lot of money, but I'm not good with it at all. And I have someone that I can just hand all that money, those resources to, and I can just go and do something else and keep trying to make some more money because I know she gonna handle this, knock this down. Just like she knows that because I work for myself, she knows that I can go every day and went from elementary to junior high, that I pick up my daughter every day from school, and I come home, I cook dinner every night, and I have hers late in the little stuff in the microwave and all. That's what I like to do. That's what I'm into. That's me. I work.
But were you that way when you were married the first time?
For the most part, yes.
Did she? And how was she as a partner?
She was real cool.
Okay.
I think like my other panelists said, I think the problem was we were young and we hadn't quite figured it out.
You didn't figure it out.
Oh, certainly. No, but I'm saying if I had, I'm thinking, yeah, I'll take 90.
You said she was clear.
No question.
You were the one that screwed it up.
No question.
Okay,
no,
all right.
Absolutely no
all right.
question. And no question.
What was your expectations of your husband's role? What did you expect him to do when he became husband? What was your expectations that he did not live up to?
Okay, so you're asking me in reference to the first husband.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Being the protector, and he was a provider, but the protector and really being like my friend. That really wasn't there.
Okay.
It was almost kind of similar where that domination because of age difference And I don't think he would have thought it that way, but it was almost like it had to go his way or no way.
Okay.
You know, even down to what I wore, you know, the clothes I wore.
So he was very controlling.
He's a damn fool.
But but you knew that before.
No.
Okay.
I didn't know that before getting married. You know? But over time, similar to even what Tony was talking about, you know, my expectations changed as it relates to what I expect from a husband and a wife, because it's so funny. It's almost similar to our situation now. My husband is fabulous. I mean, he cooks for me when I'm like come home late. He cooks. He buys me flowers. He takes care of me in so many ways. And I like to work too.
Does he have a younger brother? Can we clone him?
And you know, and he gets out and works. You know, so I go with him to his jobs. But my expectations have changed where excellent. I don't have the same thing where the woman has to do this and the man has to do that.
I like that.
I think that what happens is as you mature and even understand life and yourself better, you understand who brings what best to the table.
Okay. Absolutely. All right. So let me ask the younger guys. What would your expectations?
The younger guys.
Younger guys.
I
am 20.
Wait a minute.
What kind of shit is that? I'm 27. Younger guy.
I don't mean it like that. I'm just saying.
How old are you?
You guys are mature, seasoned, wisdom.
Because I got gray hair. I'm old now.
I didn't mean it like that. But again, you know, what was your expectations of your wife? What was your expectation of your role? How did you see yourself in your marriage?
I thought I was the money man.
You were just supposed to be the provider.
Yeah, hey, go get some.
So what about monogamy? Did you anticipate that you were gonna be monogamous
for the first 3.5 years, and I was miserable.
You were miserable. You were miserable.
Miserable.
Because
absolutely.
She wasn't, or because you just
there wasn't no sex going on.
Okay, so she wasn't giving you sex. It wasn't.
I don't even think it was that she wasn't giving me sex. It just wasn't. It wasn't natural.
Okay.
You know, it was like a date, or it was like a I don't know. It was a holiday.
Was it that way before?
It wasn't that way before, and I saw that on the list. We're gonna talk about it later.
We're talking about that next.
But that was huge for me. I mean, you know, your who you know, your relationship with Jesus Christ, you got a relationship with your daddy, and then are you a freak? I mean, I'm just being honest. After that, you know, we can negotiate everything.
All right, we're going to talk about sex next. But let me ask you this real quick, Shelon. What was your expectations?
She mad she got to go after me, huh?
No, because I'm coming to you first. What were your expectations of your husband?
Absolutely.
What did you have? What was your expectations of your husband?
For me, because of my age, I was used to a different type of environment for marriage. My mom was the one that was the corporate, you know, going out every day working, whereas my father, he played in a lot of clubs. He played with the band, and so he was into the entertainment life. And he did most of the cooking. My mom didn't really do much of, you know, anything else because she was more so out there always working 2 jobs, going to school, different things like that. So when I got married, I didn't expect for my husband to basically be the one to bring home the bacon or, you know, work hard for it and take care of the household. That's crazy, but I just didn't because that's what I was used to. All
right, excellent. So let's talk about sex, and Ken, I'm going to come to you.
Absolutely. I don't have no problem with it. Very open about it. Love women.
So how important is sex in marriage? And you know, and what they say, some of the rumors are, you know, what I've heard is that when women get married, do you know what I mean? When they are dating, they are freaks, but then when women get married, then they just dry it up. Was that your experience?
No, it wasn't even that. One of the things that took place because I never understood marriage when I was younger.
Okay.
So I just heard that you have to make sacrifice. So one of the things that I sacrificed in this relation or in my marriage was sex.
Mm-hmm.
I sacrificed. I realized later that was the wrong thing to sacrifice, and you don't sacrifice your core values.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't giving up Jesus, but I was giving up on sex.
Okay.
And I was miserable for 3.5 years.
Why did she stop?
I don't even think she started, being honest.
Weren't you having sex there before you got married?
Yeah, but remember what I said. That was one of the things I sacrificed. So where I was used to doing it every night as a young player, when I got married, I thought twice a month, 3 times a month was normal for marriage because of, you know, what was out there and what I knew. And once I got that divorce, I realized, boy, you can do this 3-4 times a day. That's how I found out about date rate. Day rate.
At
the hotel. Showtime at the hotel.
You had nothing nice.
Yeah.
Sex. Well, clearly, it was important to you.
It wasn't as important to me. I was just a wild savage, to be perfect.
So why did you even get married if you knew you weren't going to be monogamous?
Shit, I do a whole bunch of things I know I ain't gonna do. I mean, I was young and crazy.
Were you sexually compatible with her?
Yeah, I ain't got no horror stories about sex and, you know, and being.
Well, how important is it in the marriage?
I think it's very important. I think the problem is, for a lot of times for us as men, and I notice this with a lot of my partners, I think the biggest problem is we're not open in terms of who we are,
Correct.
what we like, what we want.
That's it.
Because see,
is it hard to be monogamous for a
woman,
lifetime?
Your woman will suck your dick, but your wife ain't supposed to.
Yeah.
Why?
No, she is.
I'm just saying that's what we do.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, the stuff that you
I've
won't
had
do.
friends say that.
Yeah, the one stuff that you won't do that's wild.
Yeah. Your wife ain't supposed to do. Yeah.
You know, you feel kind of ambivalent. It's a schizophrenic, crazy shit.
Correct.
Because how many men have you never asked a woman, well, you dating and all that? You said, well, how many people you been with?
Yeah.
Well, she say too many for his ass.
Exactly.
It's like, what? Your
walking
mama must have raised you wrong. It's just she been waiting on you all her life.
Exactly.
So you ask questions you really don't want to know the answer to.
I understand. We're damned if we do, damned if we don't.
That's the crazy part. And then again, what happens is you get in a situation where you may.
If you don't.
That's the attorney.
What?
Keep
what
talking.
did you say?
I said you're not damned if you don't.
No, I'm just saying. And what happens is you're not honest about who you really are.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You may have some wild shit that you like and want to do, and a lot of times in relationships.
Why don't you want to do that with your wife though? You should want to do that with your wife.
Let me finish.
I'm sorry.
What happens is.
I'm just saying.
No, what happens? No, what happens is I'm talking about in relationship. Yeah. Me and my wife doing some wild shit, just so you're clear. What happens?
You
what
gotta
happens
tell me
is
all
in
that.
relationships. You just ask, in relationships though, you don't want to offend, especially your woman or your wife. You don't want to offend them, and you don't know what you should and shouldn't say. So a lot of times you don't say things, and a lot of times we ain't even got to necessarily do all the stuff that I think about, fantasize, and talk about.
Correct.
But what happens is if we can just talk about it, sometimes it makes it better. You go, well, I always thought about something. I always want like two bras, and that don't mean I'm gonna do it.
Do it.
I'm just saying, being honest.
Being
That's
honest.
when the friend part.
Keena, what are you, the hype man?
Yeah, absolutely.
No.
He's telling the truth. He's telling the truth.
But that's telling the truth. That's what's key.
I'm validating.
That's what's key about the friend.
Exactly.
Let me ask my lady.
But that's what. But no, let me say
the
one
truth.
thing.
What?
But that's the important part of the friend part of the relationship.
For us, for me.
Because as a friend, I can tell you things that I can't tell, and that's why more often than not, we have a woman who's your woman, basically because she's your friend. But when you should have your friend at the house with you,
Correct.
Your wife should be your friend.
Correct.
And we don't nurture the friendship in relationships.
Okay. All right, ladies. So is that your experience? I mean, why do we stop having sex after marriage? And I'm not saying you too, but did you hear that? Do you know that women who
Or did you do that? No,
or did you do it? Yeah.
Well, let me just preface this real quick. There are 5 core things that they say every divorce goes back to, or the strength of every marriage, and that's faith, finances, family, sex, and communication.
Okay.
They said every divorce can go back to at least one of those problems in some way or the other. And so I think a lot of times, again, depending on what kind of background we come from, sex is not something that we're taught or we're trained, or I can remember even for myself, and I'm just going to put this out there. When I was in my first marriage, there was a serious total sex problem. But with that, I remember going to the church and talking to a women's Christian Bible study, and everybody told me to be quiet and they're going to pray for me. But not one person talked to me about it.
Did any of your issues have to deal with being molested?
I don't think so.
Okay.
As much as I just, again, people don't talk openly about it. Kind of like what Tony was saying. People don't really talk about it. So then you feel like maybe if you have a thought, and then for someone like me who had gone through, being molested by my father for years, you think like, gosh, if I would like to try that, now all of a sudden everybody's going to think I'm a bad girl.
Okay.
And it may have nothing to do with
But don't
that.
they say the marriage bed is undefiled?
Yeah, but there's a lot of theory.
What does that mean?
And then there's practical. You know what I mean? So if nobody really talks to you, unless you have a loving partner, now thank you, Jesus, I have a loving partner now. That in terms of where you can discuss things and you are friends, kind of like Tony was talking about, where you're lovers, you're friends, and you can work it through. But oftentimes, especially when you're young, it's physical.
Okay.
It's not emotional.
Exactly.
Okay, and you married an older guy. Was it mostly about sex for him?
Wendy, I think you're my soulmate after that.
Was it mostly sex for him?
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay.
See,
All right.
I wasn't, again, my parents didn't sit down and talk to me about marriage, and they most certainly did not sit down and talk to me about sex. So who I had as my teacher was my husband at the time.
Okay.
And he was a sex fiend.
Okay.
I mean, he wanted to watch it, do it, man, every single day, all day long. Even if I just wanted a regular massage, it turned into something else more. It was just.
And how did that make you feel? Did it make you want to not give it to him as much? Did it make you want to pull back from him sexually?
She participated. Look at her smile. No.
Testify.
To be honest, in the beginning, I thought that's what I was supposed to do.
Okay.
And to satisfy him, I thought that me showing my so-called love was to make sure he was pleased, or I was always pleasing unto him.
Okay.
Not realizing what wasn't pleasing to myself.
Okay.
So it wasn't until as I got older and I grew and I started to discover how to love myself and respect myself, and I realized that he wasn't even someone I wanted to even no longer be with.
Oh.
Then
Cool.
I mean, it's the truth, though.
I feel you.
It got to the point to where he didn't even, let me say this, he didn't even realize this, that sometimes when we would have sex, I would literally be sitting there, laying there crying. He didn't even see my face filled with tears, or tears coming rolling down my face.
And why were you crying?
Because I was disgusted with the situation.
Okay.
And I felt stuck. And I felt like, how am I going to get out of the situation having kids? And so therefore, I couldn't even enjoy when it was time to have sex.
So I'm glad you brought that in. So is it even a good idea to stay into a marriage just because of the kids?
Hell
No.
no.
Okay.
I would tell you that.
Why?
Because of the fact that it's not good for your
And
health.
why do people do it? Is it a perception thing?
Money.
Okay.
I will say,
cheaper to keep her?
Finances.
Okay.
Never
I think that's
cheaper.
part of it, but
Scared.
I also think a lot of it is upbringing.
Okay.
I think if you were taught to, especially if you were raised in a baby boomer situation or traditionalist situation with the grandparents, it doesn't matter if you got beat to death. They did not believe in divorce. So
Okay.
I just think that for a lot of people, whatever their belief system is why they stick or stay into a situation. For me, I didn't want to be another statistic. I didn't
Okay.
want to be a single mom with kids.
Excellent. Oh, so okay, so it's the
Can
perception.
I chime in on that one?
Okay, all right.
There is still out there a prevailing idea that we're staying together for the kids, and I heard all you guys' backgrounds, but from someone, I was raised in a double parent home, but it was a toxic relationship between the mother and the father, and that's as bad for the kids
Yes.
as the parents splitting up.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Ken, I wanted to ask you, I wanted you to go back to answer that question about sex. And what does it mean for the marriage bed to be undefiled?
I believe a man and a woman should be able to do anything in the bed
If they're married.
if they're married.
Okay.
And that's between them.
All right.
And,
So
nobody
if
else's
you wanted to
business.
bring another
Only if
person
they're
in,
married.
if you wanted to swing, that's all
Wait,
within.
who?
I'm just saying, if you're married and you want to be a swinger, that's all in the
Nah, ain't
confines.
no dude coming in my house.
Well, it's a girl. I'm just saying.
Oh, well, that
See?
So I'm just saying.
You know what I mean?
So you're saying
That's
it's
not
fine.
the
If you're
we do that.
married and
But ain't no dude coming in.
okay, Wendy, what does it mean for the marriage bed to be undefiled?
I believe that, again, I think it depends on how you're raised. And so if you're coming from a spiritual or Christian, and that's where I come from, so I have to tell you, if you're coming from that perspective, I think that there will be some boundaries that you will have together as relates to that. But I think that whatever a husband and wife agree upon, it's all okay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Tony, is it realistic for women to believe that their husband's going to be monogamous?
Sure it is. Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
I'm standing on that.
all right.
Sure, I believe that. Yeah.
You can believe that men can be monogamous?
Sure, we can. I think.
For how long?
For as long as we want to be. I think the only thing that we're missing is a support system. Is that I think that if we had a support system that we support one another, if that we get together and we support, if we spend less time dealing with and talking pathology about relationships, about one another, and about our views and values and things like that, because you can't tie me down and make a woman give me no pussy. I don't
Okay.
even want none. You
All
know
right.
what I mean? Because it's not worth it.
But
to
you're
me.
older now.
No,
But that wasn't your mentality when you were married.
Right, but I was crazy then. And I also said at the beginning that I never had a support system.
Okay.
Because again, if in fact this is your drug of choice, which it was my drug of choice,
So who is that person that's their drug of choice? Sex.
who was that person?
I'm just saying, who the person who is just basically just a womanizer, just that's what you were.
Sure.
Okay, so who were you back then?
A
Who-
damn fool, as I said before.
Okay,
A
well,
sick person, a cat that didn't have that used, I would argue, took my greatest blessing and made it my curse. Back then, I was really a good-looking guy, so what they tell me, I could talk. I could present well. Unfortunately, I was in the entertainment industry and stuff like that, so I was around all those things that would entice you, whatever.
Okay.
And I abused the blessing.
Okay.
And no one.
Why do you call it a blessing?
Because I think to be fortunate enough for people to like you and welcome you in a number of different environments, and because you're just you, and then people that would befriend you, and a lot of women that probably liked me that I probably could have done good by just being their friend and saying the right things to them.
Versus having sex with them?
Versus having sex with them and taking advantage of them.
Okay.
I think
All right.
that was a curse. That was not good.
Can men be monogamous?
Yeah.
Okay.
Men can
I mean, you lasted for 3 years.
Yeah, 3.5. But yeah.
What made you finally decide? Say, you know what? Forget it.
Got tired of jacking off.
Basically. Well, you know what? I probably didn't do that for about a year. Yeah.
Why? Why?
But why what?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Why'd you stop jacking off?
Why did? Well,
shit,
my head was going to explode. But I have to say this. Yeah, men can't be monogamous, and so I'm honest in that. It's relationship.
Okay.
That's all it is. It's
All right.
a relationship.
Okay.
We can do whatever we want to do, but if you're not mature enough, and then it's not going to work.
Okay.
Period.
All right.
Yeah, it's maturity.
Okay, so let's talk about your divorce and the impact of your divorce on yourselves. Just from this point on, when you first got divorced, you said you guys both all decided to get divorced. What was that healing process like for you? I mean, after you went through the divorce, what was that like for you?
For me, it's interesting because legally I wasn't divorced. I was married for 16 years the first time, but I think I was gone many years before that mentally.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
But you were still physically together?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying mentally in my head. And so I think that by the time I actually went through the divorce, I was okay in terms of my emotional, but I was a stay-at-home mom predominantly. I mean, I kind of dibbled and dabbled in a lot of different things, but primarily financially, I didn't make any money, So for me, the biggest thing was I had to figure out how was I going to take care of my children and being a single mother, not knowing what kind of support I had. And I didn't get even alimony.
Okay.
So I didn't, and that's a whole nother story. So, I had to figure out how was I going to make it. And so for me, I have to honestly say, and I think divorce was the best thing that ever happened to me, in terms of making me come to grips with who I really was and my potential of life and where I could go, and then to eventually now have really found true love.
I love it. It sounds like divorce made you a better person too. What was that process for you after she was like, I'm out of here?
I was sad. I was extremely sad, and I was sad for a very long time.
What's a long time?
Long time. I don't know. For a long time.
Did you date after that? Were you?
Sure, I dated.
Was it rebound dating? Were you still?
No.
Okay.
I just dated, and I stayed single a while. And what really was interesting to me.
Why were you sad? Did you feel like you were a failure? Did you feel like you messed up? Okay.
Yeah, I knew I messed up.
Okay.
I knew I was a failure. And I'll never forget it. One day because I used to live downtown, and I was living downtown. I was up, and I was living on the top floor, and I just finished decorating my apartment, and everything was beautiful. And I remember looking out the window, and I was very sad because I didn't have anybody there with me. I had a lot of girls that I knew and dated, and I was open about I was dating more than one person because I didn't want to deceive anybody, but I was very, 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 very lonely.
Okay.
And I said, this is really not cool. So that's when I decided I would start.
Party all the time.
Were you happy? Did you feel free? Were you sad at all?
Liberated. The attorney was paid off on the last day. I think I paid, and I'm being honest, I think I paid like $200 and something to get my decree expedited to my office because I wanted it. And I took a picture of it and had it it's still on my phone somewhere. And I showed everybody because I was happy. And I was happy because, I now have the opportunity to do it right this time.
Okay.
And I'm not, obviously we're joking and having fun.
Were you ever sad? Did you ever feel like Tony felt like you were a failure? Like
no, hell no.
Okay.
No, I felt like I was. What's that? Beyonce, I'll survive. But in all honesty, I'm very optimistic about this next.
This next go around.
This next go around for me.
Did you go through depression? Were you sad? What happened?
No. I had a divorce party.
You had a divorce party?
Oh my gosh. First of all, I was already miserable in the relationship situation, marital situation, and then I had a horrible divorce. It was incredibly horrible. And I just know that it got so bad to the point to where I just told the courts, I don't want anything. The only thing I want is just the judge to say you guys are divorced. I walked away with absolutely nothing.
So how did your divorce how did your divorce impact your kids?
Now, when it comes to that was the only part that I was sad about. It wasn't so much for the fact that I wasn't with their father.
Was he a good father?
No.
Okay. So what were you sad about?
I was sad at the fact that my kids, it was different for them from the way I was raised. You know what I'm saying? Coming in with both my parents. For my kids, they were born and raised with both biological parents being in the same household. So to them, it was almost kind of like, I forgot the name of that old show, but both parents in the home.
I was in here.
What was that?
I was in here.
I don't think it was like that.
Oh, that's yours.
Hey, we in our 20s.
Little House
man.
on the Prairie, I think is what I'm thinking
Little
about.
House.
Little House on the Prairie.
We in our 20s, man.
The Cosby's.
I'm like, the Cosby's. So, for my kids, their lives just all of a sudden got interrupted. All they knew was that they were used to coming into a home with both parents there, the house running the way that it was running, parents working, whatever, whatnot, or at least one. And then all of a sudden, I was gone one night, and then I came back the very next day and took as much as I could, packed it in a suitcase, and we left. And that was the end of their life. So it ended.
But the last time you were sharing with us that you still see your husband at church.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even acknowledge your kids.
Right. We go to the same Bible class, and when my kids see their father, they see him from across the room with a suit on, wanting to be an usher to help elderly people and things like that, and want to look good, want to represent himself as to be one connected with the creator of the heaven, of heaven and universe. When in actuality, it's like you are a hypocrite. You do not take care. You want your heavenly father to take care of you, so-called, but you are not showing an example from a physical aspect. Your kids have to see you with a suit on from across the room, but you do not call them. You don't pick them up. You don't pay child support. You don't do any of those things, which further proves why it was meant for me to divorce you in the first place.
So did you ever think about changing your church and not having your kids be subjected to seeing their father reject them like that?
Well, my kids, to be honest with you, they are way mature than the average kids their age. So we've had our opportunity to sit down as a unit with the ministers of our school to be able to talk about the situation. So they know, they're mature enough to know, that it's not the teaching. It's more of the individual who is sick and not necessarily where we go.
Okay, Wendy, how did it impact your kids?
Well, it was rough because, like I said, we were married for 16 years. But the real hard part was about a week after our marriage was over, their dad was married.
What?
Yeah. So
how did that happen?
Cheating all along.
He moved fast.
Yeah. So, because of that, and the way that my children found out that their dad was getting married was he called and said, I'm coming up to pick up my kids, and they're going to a wedding. And the kid said, who? And he said, mine.
Wow. So how is their relationship now, your kids and their dad?
It's gotten better through the years, but it was really tough and really rough for many years. But again, because of the philosophy that I teach of healing without hate and forgiveness, I never negatively talked about their dad. I always knew that whatever was meant to be would come out and that they would find out. I mean, it got to the place where my kids would always say things to me like, Mom, just quit talking nice about Dad. We know what happened.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that he was totally bad as a father, but totally overall, the whole picture, they knew what happened. And so I didn't have to do that.
Okay. All right. I know you have a healthy relationship with your baby girl.
Absolutely. Another week, I got to start by taking her to school in the morning.
So how did she respond to the divorce?
The reality is she was young, 3-4 years old. And the sad part is my daughter has never seen me kiss a woman.
Why do you say that's sad?
Because it's sad. Because she doesn't know her dad has intimacy in her.
Your daughter?
She'll be 8 in October.
She's experienced you kissing her.
Yeah, but come on now, it's a big difference between daddy putting his beard all up in your face and picking in your nose and grabbing you.
She know her daddy love her.
Right.
That she knows, but it's that other love that's gonna come later on that I got to begin to start to nurture.
Okay, Tony, you have kids?
Yes.
Okay, and how did they respond to your divorce?
It wasn't good, but I constantly.
Did they blame you?
Well, I told them it was me,
okay,
and I apologized to them, and I'm constantly in relationship with them now, and I constantly tell them. I sent them a text the other day saying, I wish I could have done things differently, but I can only start from where I am now.
Now you and your ex-wife friends? Or she hates your guts?
I don't think she hates me. No.
Oh, okay.
No.
You're a lovable guy.
I like me.
Okay, so when we come back after this quick commercial break, we're going to talk about the lessons you guys learned.
Sure.
The lessons you've learned from your marriage, the lessons you've learned from your new relationships and things that you can pass on to our audience. We're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
This is John McClure Jr., a.k.a. Simply John, and I would like to invite you to join us on gospelrhythms.com every Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our show, gospelrhythms.com, Talk Live Radio. Join us as we celebrate Christians around the world in all genres of entertainment, as well as highlight interest stories on men and women who are making a difference and impacting their community. So don't forget to tune in to gospelrhythms.com on LA Talk Live. And we're more than just talk. Remember, it's a heaven's party here on earth. So live life, love God.
Interested in advertising your business, product, or service here on The Dialogue? Call 323-547-7748. The Dialogue will help you promote your business, increase your traffic, and bring in new clients through innovative and creative marketing packages, including affordable radio ad campaigns for small businesses. Find out more. Call 323-547-7748. That's 323-547-7748. Or go to www.thedialoguela.com. And now, back to The Dialogue. The Dialogue with Starlett Quarles. Real talk, real people.
Welcome back. We are talking about life after divorce here on The Dialogue today with our panel of esteemed guests today. So, I want to ask you guys before we get into lessons learned, just about your dating experience after you had gotten divorced. I mean, how had the dating game changed since before you had gotten married?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. First of all, again, I have to say I'm in my 50s,
Okay.
and so you're talking a span of 30 years.
Okay.
I didn't know anything about online dating, not really, and it was my daughter, who is 29 now, who introduced me a few years ago to online dating. And because of what I do in the community and because of what I do, I've always felt like I had to be careful in terms of my public dating. So I was trying to be careful with that in terms of like not just dating all around
Mhm.
and all that kind of stuff. So to me, once I got introduced to online dating, it worked, but it was difficult,
Okay.
because you have to be careful, but you have to be careful.
You might get a catfish.
Anyway, you have to be
What's a
careful
catfish?
all
Yeah,
the
right,
time.
catfish
You
on
wanna throw it
MTV.
back. Yeah, you got to throw it back and the boundaries on the ground and all that. So it was different. And then for me though, when I first went through my divorce from my children's father, I was pretty much very low key though for years.
Mhm.
I mean, because I kind of focused on my career, my children, and I wasn't so bent on having to get married again right away.
Okay,
So
all right.
I took it slow.
How was dating for you?
It was fun.
You never stopped dating.
It was fun. It was fun.
You was dating during your marriage.
Yeah, I didn't see no different. It was fun to me.
Ken, how's the game changed? You're actively out there.
Hey, no, I'm not actively out there.
Well, you-
anymore, for the record, this is going out live, right?
I'm in love.
Yeah, I'm in love. Hey, baby. Be home soon. No, I
But even when you met her, I mean, just how
before I met, I was introduced
I'm
to
just
her.
saying, how
but
has the game
before-
changed?
Oh, it ain't changed. I mean, the only
okay.
difference really was how much, and I hate to go back to economics. It was economics for me.
Okay.
Back then, I was looking for free, and the second time, I was looking for convenience.
Okay.
So I wasn't paying them to have sex. I was paying them to leave. I can't stay here. So it's a big difference.
Shelon, are you actively dating right
No,
now?
not really.
Okay. Are you interested in dating, or are you interested in looking to be remarried again?
I do want to be married again.
Okay.
I think for right now in my life, I have so many positive things going on with my career. And I always I don't know, for whatever reason, I just feel like I can't give that extra time or that extra energy to another man at this time when I need to give that to my kids and, just still be there for them.
Okay.
Because as busy as I am with my career and the things that I do, I feel like the little bit of time that I have left it belongs to my kids.
Okay. So let me talk to Tony and Wendy for a bit, since you guys both are recently remarried. Now, Tony, who?
Wendy's my soulmate.
My husband's in the room right now.
Tony? How long you been married the second time around? And how did you meet her?
I met her. Actually, I went up to. I was.
And she's a cop, so she can kill you too.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I got a pistol too.
You don't want her to snap.
Yeah. But the beauty of it is but what I admire about my wife, and Wendy can attest to it, she's the only policeman at work.
Mhm.
You would never know.
Yeah.
I mean, like when I always say I have 5 kids because she had 2, but they mine.
Yeah.
You know
Okay.
what I mean? I got the pink slip on them. The kids didn't even know for the longest. The littlest one didn't even know that her mom was a police because I should tease her said, "We don't like the police, do we?" No, we don't like the police. But she know her mom was police.
Mhm.
But we don't have we cool. I met her. I was doing some community work and she was running this community center for the sheriff department. And I went in there and I saw her and she came out grinning with this pretty black face and all you see was white teeth and she hadn't done her hair that day, it was slicked back. And I said, I like that, because I like dark chocolate, you know what I mean?
I know.
So I went and and so we hooked up, and so I invited her to come down to come downtown to my house. And I said, come down, and I fixed her dinner, and then I put her out, and she was walking down the hall like, what the hell was that all about? And because I liked her, and I wanted to slow walk it, and we hooked up, and we're cool ever since.
So when you met her, did you have the same experiences? When like, I'm gonna marry this girl. Did you know when you saw that was the one?
No, hell no.
Okay.
I get the man thing.
No, I didn't know that. I knew she was cool, and I knew after we dated and hung out, and I knew she liked me, because I think for me that was more important. That because again, she didn't know, and I mean this very humbly because I ain't really nobody to speak of, but she didn't know who I was.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't know that I worked in entertainment. She didn't know the people that I knew and things like that. So it was real cool, because as when you do certain things in certain areas, people know who you are.
Right.
Then you kind of paranoid, like who you liking, you know what I mean? But she had no clue as who I was, and it was real cool, and we created a relationship, and I knew at the end of the day that she liked me. And I thought that was real important.
So what mentality did you take into this marriage differently? What did you learn from your last marriage that you knew when you married this one, you were going to do certain things differently?
Because I grew up.
Okay. How old were you when you got married the second time?
40-something.
Okay.
I grew up and I knew what I wanted, and I knew I wanted a lover, a partner, and a friend. And I knew that I could, and what I did is I did something I'd never done before. I got butt naked honest in terms of who I was.
You got honest with her, you got honest with yourself.
With her and myself.
Okay.
Because like they say in the dope fiend meetings, you're only sick as your secrets.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just was transparent in terms of who I was. And I said to her then, and I said, if I ever decide that I want to go out and cheat or something like that, I'll tell you, because of that being something else is going on.
Okay. All right.
Because I never did it. And I think, brother, if he's honest, and I'm sure he will be, we don't really do it for sex per se.
Yeah.
We do. There's some other shit that's bothering us that, and for the most part, we don't have anybody to talk to or to bounce it off of
Okay.
to put us in check.
Excellent. So the third time around, how did this? You met online,
Yes. Mhm.
and so you said, how did you know? I mean, how did you know? And what did you take into this marriage differently about yourself as a wife and your role, and what were your expectations going into this third marriage?
I think a few things. One, I have to agree with Tony in that I grew up. I mean, and I wrote something down when I was looking at some of the notes, and there's a difference between being responsible and mature. And see, one of the things I learned about my life is I've always been responsible.
Excellent.
And because I've always been a responsible person from a child up, because of a lot of things I had to deal with and help, with my brother and other people in the family,
Mm-hmm.
I think people sometimes thought the responsibility also meant mature.
Mm.
And there were a lot of things that only come with time,
Okay.
and with experience. And so now in my life, I have grown up. I am mature. I am experienced in such a way where I'm also ready. The other thing is, now, there are a lot of good men out there. I'm not talking about, men in general, as you were saying, my brother. But I also knew how to recognize a good man.
Okay.
Right. Because I've seen a few that weren't.
Oh, give us some pointers. What's a good man?
A good man, first of all, for me, loves the Lord.
Okay, excellent.
Second thing is this man loves his mother and his grandmother. His grandmother's 90, his mother's almost 70. He helps take care of them. He's always paid attention to them, even now. We went fishing up in Big Bear over the weekend. We came back, and he still drove all the way to Pasadena to take them one fish that we
So
caught.
the mama's boys are they the ones
So-
like last time they said when I had the guys, they wanted to marry the daddy's girls. So should we be looking for mama's boys?
Yeah, but let me
Yeah.
put it this way too, though. Everybody's in check in our family too about who's first in our lives.
Excellent.
In terms of we care about our families, but at the same time we're each other's priorities. And then
Excellent.
the other thing, like my sister was saying about her priorities, I'm at a stage in life now, being 51 years old, where my kids are grown. and I can devote my time to him, and I can enjoy him and he can enjoy me. So we're at a place in life where I think we also know how to enjoy each other. But I think one of the biggest lessons that I'm learning, and I can't even say I've learned it because he checks me on this all the time already, and that is I'm learning to let go.
Let go of
everything. I'm
Okay.
a control freak
Okay.
on everything,
Mhm.
because I've had to be
Okay,
in so
excellent.
many ways. So I think that also in relationships, you have to learn, kind of like Tony was saying, another way to say it is to get basically, raw and honest and open, and not be afraid to share the things
Right.
that not only are your strengths, but are your weaknesses.
Mhm.
And a lot of times we don't want to do that. But when you find someone that you can do that with, like one of the things that my husband and I have talked about is that we ain't going nowhere. So, I mean, I can get mad at him, he can get
Mhm.
mad at me, but I understand now what till death do you part means.
Okay, excellent. I was
Yeah,
gonna ask you that.
And I told my wife, I ain't going nowhere, neither you. The Negro to take you, better take me too. We all go.
Family affair. Family affair.
So if you think you like the Negro, he better have a good job. My ass is coming too.
Butt naked, picking my nose.
We all going.
So I get it. I mean,
Okay.
that's what I've learned.
Excellent. So Ken, this time I know you want a wife. So what are you looking for?
I'm not looking for anything. I'm dating her.
Huh?
I'm not looking for anything. I'm dating her.
Okay.
We still on the air, right?
I'm just saying, in terms of a wife, what are you looking for?
But you know what? She hit on two things. What did she say? She said relationship with Jesus Christ.
Okay.
And then she said loves his mother. For me, don't have any daddy issues.
Mhm.
Okay, all due respect. Then the third thing for me is the freak. Right? And I'm being honest, because
Okay.
that's my issue. And then the last, she has to understand that she has to like to gamble. And what I mean by gamble, I'm an entrepreneur, so I can't do 9 to 5. It just doesn't work for me.
Mhm.
And so we're not necessarily struggling, but we're talking about the fact that she's in corporate America. I'm not. So she's saying, well, sweetheart, why don't you go to work at 8 o'clock in the morning, then you'll be off at 7, and then we can spend time together. I'm like, well, my day don't get started until about 4 o'clock when everybody's leaving the office. Then I can get some things done.
Okay.
And then 9, 10 o'clock. So I got to figure out that balance. But what I've learned is that I'm not going to compromise who I am. I'm just not. You can call me ignorant. You can call me stupid, retarded, all of that. But I'm not going to change who I am. I'll get better.
Who are you looking for?
For me, I did a lot of growing after my divorce because, again, I got married so young. And it wasn't until I really started to understand how to love myself first.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, a lot of people, they always look out for love instead of looking within for love.
Mhm.
And so for me, being able to now to identify a man versus a boy. And the only reason why I can do that now is because I've learned how to love myself, respect
What's
myself.
the difference between a man and a boy?
Well, I heard it tonight, across with our panelists, as far as a man is someone who knows what they want.
Mm-hmm.
They're not afraid to be upfront and honest with you. They're not afraid to make decisions. They're not afraid to go out on a ledge with you. They're not afraid.
Okay.
They're confident as to who they are, and they feel comfortable in their skin as to who they are. A boy is still searching for who he is.
Okay,
And
excellent.
so therefore he feels that whether it's behind sex, all the women, the boys, whatever the case that might be, he's so into how others think of him that he has to hold up to an image, and it's manifested in so many different ways. And I
Excellent.
wanted to say this too, is that as you grow, and I love what you said about responsibility versus maturity, because a part of that is we are what we attract.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, if I am with who I am, I know now that what is it about this person that kind of reminds me about myself? It's going to you learn more about yourself through your relationships.
Excellent.
Yeah. So for now, I know for a fact who I'm going to know when that person comes along in my life.
Okay.
I know the difference between what I want and what I don't want, and I'm not afraid this time to speak up on what it is that I want, because I love myself enough and I respect myself enough to be able to make a decision to where if you don't like what I'm saying, then we're just not compatible.
So I'm just gonna throw the question out there. So what is the benefit of marriage?
IRS, I'll tell you that right now. I'm in a high ass tax bracket, and unfortunately she is too. And single, making money. I got a daughter I don't claim. I'm talking about on paper. I had an LLC. We getting ready to take that away and make it a corp. Benefits, IRS.
Anybody
deduction.
else? Benefits of marriage, Wendy?
I think companionship and
Excellent.
having someone that you know that you're going to grow old with and will change your diapers when you get old
Yeah, most
and
certainly.
will,
Yes,
yeah,
I agree.
you know what I mean? And just someone that you know just loves you unconditionally. And I think the other things, like Ken was saying, are kind of more, you know, external benefits. Like, don't get me wrong, IRS, I'm an entrepreneur too. I know all about, we had a conversation today about that.
It's cold. It's
You know,
cold,
so,
brother.
you know, when you handle the business side, IRS, of course, is definitely something that could be a benefit. But you know what? I'm going to just tell you guys, I love every morning rolling over and I see his face and I just smile.
I love it.
And it makes me happy. Even if I was like a little perturbed the night before, I wake up and I just look at him and I'm happy.
Excellent. Tony, you had used the word partnership when you had described marriage. So talk about marriage, and some people consider marriage a business relationship. So talk about the partnership aspect of marriage. What does it mean to be a partner with someone?
I think it because when I say partner, I mean partner as
Like Bonnie and Clyde, like partner in crime,
or yeah, partner. Something means someone that you can be completely honest with, someone that you could. The beauty of it is when you are afraid, because we're taught and somehow we try to convince ourselves that we aren't as men. Someone that you can go to and you can say, I'm afraid.
Okay.
I'm scared to do this. I don't know particularly how to do this. It was only through marriage that I actually learned, but something as simple as how to go to the doctor. Because I didn't know how to do that. I knew theoretically how to, you go, but I didn't know how to actually go. I didn't know the importance of going. And
being married help you do that? Why?
Yes,
because she told you to
because
go?
she actually went with me.
Okay.
She actually said, let me go with you, and went. And it's, I mean, things that we as men a lot of times don't know how to do, we hesitate on doing. Or we give you women negative pushback, especially if you're introducing us to something.
So talk about
that's new to us.
being emotionally vulnerable and being open to being emotionally vulnerable.
Because I could cry if I wanted to. I can say
you felt you couldn't do that before?
Yeah, of course not. Because you have to have the ultimate trust in someone to do that.
Okay.
Because they gonna see you in a way that your mama ain't. And I'm sure as you were saying with brother, my mother's 77 years old. She means the world to me. If something were to happen to me, I talked to her. I was on the phone yesterday for about an hour and a half. Just listening to her talk about aches and pains, but that was necessary. She needed that, and at some point, I know you guys were jesting and joking to a point about the money and all that, but I think it's so much more important to have somebody that you know that's on your side at the end of the day, because you can have all the money in the world, but then have to pay a son bitch to come bring you a glass of water versus someone who loves you.
And now I'm going to ask you, the whole panel, what did you learn about how to treat a woman?
I think my daughters helped me with that.
Okay.
Because even with my girls, I have 3 girls, and one of the things that I learned as a father and caring about my girls, when they introduce me to their boyfriends and people that like, the first thing that I don't ask is, what does Negro do? I don't ask how much money does he make? Did he graduate from college? My most important question is, how does he treat you?
Excellent.
Because that's more important, because I'd rather have her with a garbage man who treats her with love and respect than a PhD or attorney who busted in the head.
Exactly. What did you learn about how to treat a man?
I think letting him have a voice. Because, again, I am controlling.
Okay.
I think in a kind way.
If you must say so.
But just understanding that, let him have his own voice, and also that I'm not always right.
Okay. And what about that balance? Because you are an entrepreneur, and a lot of challenge with single women who are independent, and they come across to, they always say, put the corporate woman at home, and when you come home, I want you, not to have that corporate shield. So how do you balance your quote unquote work attitude of being independent and then be able to come into your home and be submissive?
Well, again, I think that even when my sister over here was sharing the difference between a man and a boy, I think when you're with a man, he knows how to make his woman feel.
I love it.
And I think that's a big difference. What is going on?
That is absolutely right.
I'm serious.
I ain't stamping that.
When you have
no, absolutely
not. When you have the right man, he knows how to help you fall into the place that you need to be, he needs you to be, and all of that. Because when they're not right, it's almost kind of turns into almost a disrespect.
That sounds like a shift of the burden, though, onto the. I ain't acting right because the man didn't know how to make me act right.
No, it's not that. I'm not.
beat
I
me.
didn't say make you. I just said it's
You
just
did
the
say
way.
make.
Well, the way he makes you feel and the way he brings it to the table can help you soften. I think overall,
I
I
understand.
do a pretty good job of being balanced. I mean,
Okay.
at least that's what I've been told. You
Okay.
know, I mean, I know how to run a home. I know how to take care of kids. I know how to take care of my man. I know all that. But the thing about it is to soften when you are out there hitting that road
I understand.
every day. The right person
We
helps
understand.
you.
You want to say something real quick?
I think I agree 100% in what you're saying.
I do too.
Because in terms of in my relationship, my wife, I mean, she has the epitome of a job where she's actually over men, and some of the most crazy men that there is. But also there's balance. When she comes home, she knows she's my wife.
And you help bring that balance to her.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but again, that's because relationships and we're friends.
Okay.
And we separate the two.
Okay. What did you learn about treating a woman? You still learning?
Man, I'm still learning. Because it's hard because I'm selfish, I'm
Okay.
an asshole.
Now why did you disagree with what Wendy said?
Well, because for me, when he said shifting the balance or shifting the responsibility, that's how I looked at it.
Okay.
I looked at it as if you're an asshole, you're an asshole. Can't nobody stop me from being an asshole.
Okay.
It's when I choose to stop being an asshole that I stop being an asshole.
Then, like you said, even right now, you're still looking for that right relationship, that right. And I know you're in one.
Yeah. I'm still learning on how to treat a woman. That's what you wanted to know. How to treat, because it's more than just, when you get to the point where you got a schedule to send flowers, it really, but that's my tool. I have to schedule to do those type of things because I'm still selfish.
It's not organic or natural.
No, it ain't.
But you're sending them.
No, yeah.
But you're still sending them, even though you're scheduling. You're still sending them.
It's an appointment for me,
Okay.
without a doubt.
And so you learn to send flowers. You learn to give gifts.
Affection,
affection.
I give gifts, all of that. Yes,
I'm just saying, but you've learned this.
But that's natural, the affection.
Okay,
but what? Know that part. but what I'm saying is, you want.
You learn to show gratitude.
There you go. My friend told me the other day. He said, "Man, you need to learn how to do something she enjoys that you may not enjoy, but you do it because she's enjoying it."
Okay, excellent. What did you learn about treating a man?
For me, I think it's about being the teacher and the student at the same time in a relationship, to where there's room for growth on both parts.
Okay.
So if I can help you through my experiences where I'm the teacher, but yet still receive, receive instruction and be the pupil at the same time, I think that we're both being open to one another and we can grow together.
That. Okay. Now I want to ask you ladies, what do you think, or what is your thoughts about women being paired or raised for the wedding but not the marriage?
Oh, when I saw that, I wrote all kind of notes. But the main thing is, I think that too often we are prepared as women more for that day versus the life. Mm-hmm. And the wedding is the day, and the marriage is the life.
How do you prepare for the life?
Again, kind of like even what Tony was talking about, you need, people in your life. You need a support system. You need people that. Let me just say this. Basically, what you want, you need to go find people who are that.
Okay.
In anything in life.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then you begin to look at that as maybe a roadmap or as a model. But the thing about it is you got to be careful, because some people, it's a facade. Mm-hmm. So you do have to be careful on who you think you're modeling your life after. But again, it is more important to be prepared for the marriage than the wedding. And too many people are caught up on the day.
Was that you guys experienced? Did your wives prepare for the wedding and not the marriage?
Hey, like I said, I gave her American Express. I remember it was platinum, the silver one. I thought we was going to Norwalk. We was in the Cayman Islands.
Shelon.
See, for me, for who I am, it's all based about my spirituality. That governs me.
Okay.
So when I get married again, I'm looking at something much further, much greater than what I didn't even know existed at the time when I did get married.
Okay, all right. So we're coming down to the end of the hour. So, Tony, what would you want men to know? What do you want men to know about, especially young men? What do you want them to know about marriage, the purpose of marriage, the importance of marriage? What do you want men to know?
I think they should find someone who they like and who they can not only love, but I can actually be their friend.
Okay.
And I think it's important that they should be able to be honest with their, as Sis said, with their strengths and their weaknesses, and just be straight up honest and try and create a friendship and a love relationship and a friendship. And I think and it's key to a support system and surround yourself with good people who are supportive of you in your relationship and all that's good and positive.
And I asked you about the monogamy question because when I had conversations with a lot of young men, one of the biggest things they say why they don't want to get married is because they don't want to be committed to having sex with one woman for the rest of their life.
And that's just Negro bullshit.
And that's age. That's maturity.
That's Negro bullshit.
It's maturity.
And what kids are think they're supposed
to say.
Okay. What do you want women to know? What do you want young ladies to know about marriage and preparing for marriage?
I would just say that I believe love is a beautiful thing. And that it's still out there and it's still possible. But I would say really be careful about the 5 areas I mentioned earlier. Understand the faith, the finances, the family, sex, and communication as it relates to how it fits into your life and to the person that you think that you want to spend the rest of your life with.
And I'm going to ask both you and Ken, why is faith, you mentioned faith first, and so did Ken. Why is that your first priority?
Well, because Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, and that's it at the end of the day. And for me, as it relates to my personal life, if that's not part of the mix in the beginning, because how can I follow a man if I don't know who he's following?
And he's not held accountable to somebody. He needs to be held accountable to a higher being.
2 things. First of all, what I tell young cats, don't get married until you're in your 30s and after you started your life, because the maturity kicks in for us. We're late.
Okay.
Second thing, in regards to reality, in regards to faith, it's because when trouble happens, and it will happen in the marriage, where I'm over here praying and fasting that this happened, you over there shouting at the devil, loving the chaos and the debacle that he's bringing.
So you need somebody to be on the knees with you.
Hey, absolutely.
Okay.
I totally believe in making sure that you have a foundation within yourself. When I talk about love, I'm not just talking about a physical type of love. I'm talking about spiritual love. That is the foundation of all things. And so once you can know that, once you can build upon that foundation, then you begin to see love in yourself as an individual, because you are looking at a greater love within you. And then from there, once you start to understand what that really means and what it is, you can go so much further and not make some of those decisions that can lead up to like some horrible turnouts.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? As far as experiences and sometimes death and destruction.
So real quick, before we go, last points. So how can we heal Black relationships between men and women? What do we need to do? Name one thing we need to do as Black men and women to be able to heal our relationships, and then end with telling people how they can find you.
Love each other more.
Okay. Wendy.
Forgive. www.forgivingforliving.org.
And I think we have a graphic. If we can show Wendy's ad, she has an event coming up that I'm going to be helping her host her event. Tell us a little about your event and the date.
On September 14th, it's called Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise. We have young women and adult women are coming, and we're going to give life skills and different things as it relates to making your life better. And again, go to forgivingforliving.org. Thank you, Ms. Starlett.
Thank you so much. Ken.
Be honest. That's the only thing. And believe me, if you be honest, you'll get more.
And how can people find you?
They can't.
At least I know. As long as I know where to find you.
Contact the IRS if you want to find me. I talk to them twice a week.
He's clearly going through an audit right now. Shelon, how can people find you, and what do you want? Your final words.
I leave with this: love and respect yourself. Stay open and be honest with yourself first, and then you can be honest with everybody else afterwards.
Okay.
And you can find me at ShelonDouglassUnlimited.com. That's my name. ShelonDouglassUnlimited.com.
You guys, thank you so much. You were so wonderful to have on the show. Wendy, Tony, Ken, thank you so much for coming back. Shelon, I love you. Love you, Wendy. Thank you so much. We're going to continue our series on the dynamics of Black relationships, and we talk about marriage, how to make it work next week, right here on The Dialogue with me, Starlett Quarles. Real talk, real people. Signing off as my mama's child and my daddy's baby girl. Until next week.